In Superman 4, Christopher Reeve is still flying high, although he's already looking to the future, when he'll have some serious advice for the next generation to portray the Man of Steel.
I guess the first thing that I would say is don't lose the humanity of it. Remember that the basic ingredient of Superman is that he's a friend. And I mean, that's just simply, that's the value that's the most important to me, is not Superman as a muscle man, but Superman as a friend, a really good neighbor. I mean, this country was founded on the idea of neighbor, of walking 5 miles to lend your friend a cow or a planter or something. And
what are you up to?
You know you're a workaholic. You're playing a good guy 24 hours a day. Why don't you stop and smell the roses, huh? Get yourself a hobby, a pet, a kitten, a puppy.
Well, it's common knowledge that you hate children and animals, Luther.
I just think that that's what, in this high-tech urban nightmare landscape that we've got, of people feeling isolated and alone. They don't know their neighbors. They don't know who's next to them. They're afraid of other people in the street. Life is very overwhelming. The idea that early American value of a friend who's there when you need him is the key to the whole character.
I'm going to do what our governments have been unwilling or unable to do. Effective immediately, I'm going to rid our planet of all nuclear weapons.
Tell us about your story credit. You said that there were 3 things that went into your idea of the conscience about nuclear arms. Samantha Smith's death, the Gorbachev thing, and there's a 3rd.
I did a documentary, narrated a documentary and did wraparound interviews, a program that some children had made called A Message to Our Parents, which is a film made by 12-year-olds about their fears of growing up in a nuclear age, and this is what sparked the idea for the story.
It's nice to see the character take on a global responsibility, even though his father warned him in the first picture not to try and do that.
Well, that's the whole dilemma. Every now and again, eventually, you got to throw away the handbook when you see that people need. At what point do you play by the rules, and at what point do you answer the needs of the people around you? I think that's something that people can easily understand.
On a less serious note, Margo Kidder candidly admits that although it's always difficult to fly, Superman 4 does not have the finesse in the flying sequences that the first film had.
What happened on this one was very complicated, and I don't know what happened in the negotiation. However, the first producers somehow, for some reason that obviously had to do with money, wouldn't sell all that computerized, brilliant equipment they developed on 1, 2, and 3 to the new producers, Canon.
Really?
They were holding out for some ridiculous amount of money. So finally, Canon said, well, we can't afford to buy it. We'll make our own. So they did. And some of it was a little primitive. So as opposed to the very smooth, computerized flying that we'd done in the first one, there were a couple of times where Chris and I were just put in these body molds that didn't fit very well on the end of a pole with, instead of a computer, 2 guides bouncing up and down, and everything in our sinuses, our eyes bulging out of our heads, and trying to look like we loved each other and going
body parts rearranging.
I know.
So it was a bit more uncomfortable.
It was a bit more uncomfortable, but it got smoothed out.
I'm John Tibbetts for KCTV5.